All right, so I thought I'd do something a little bit different today. So I'm going to be doing a song breakdown of Harry Styles' As It Was. I'm going to be going through looking at the arrangement of it, the melody, the chords, as well as the lyrics. I'm not going to dive super deep into production. I'm going to be looking more at the songwriting elements that make it up. This has been something that has helped me a lot with my songwriting and producing, just learning what other people have done. So I figured I would just share that with you. So let's dive into this track. All right, so this is a pretty neat song that reminds me of kind of 2000s indie rock, kind of like Vampire Weekend. If we look at the DAW here, I've basically tried to map out the chords as well as the vocal melody, just to give a sense of the skeleton. Looking at the structure, we have the intro, which is 4 bars long. Then we have the verse, which is 8 measures. Then we have the chorus, which is this part. The chorus is kind of odd because it's almost like a pre-chorus, but also a chorus hybrid. So that part's kind of interesting. And then we have a hook here, which is the As It Was part. That's 4 measures. Then the structure repeats the exact same thing. So we got 8 measures of verse, we have 8 measures of chorus, 4 measures of the hook, and then we have the bridge part, which again, it's the same chords with a different vocal melody. Then it goes into kind of a modified hook. So it starts off instrumental and then it actually goes back into the vocal melody hook starting here. All right, so this song is in A major and it has the same 4 chords repeating throughout the entire song, which makes it very simple. It starts off with the 4 chord, which is this D major. Then it goes into the 2 chord, which is a B minor. Then it goes into the 5 chord, which is an E major. And then it goes to the 1, which is the A major. And it just repeats throughout the entire song. Now looking at the intro synth melody, it's basically just outlining an A major chord with this added B note in there. So that sounds like this. And if you notice, it lands on this B a lot, which is the second scale degree. And part of the reason it does that is that B wants to resolve to the A. So by kind of pedaling on that note, it kind of keeps us carrying us along for the ride as it goes into the verse. So that's pretty much the intro melody there. So now if we look at the vocal melody for the verse, it's the actual rhythm of the vocal melody is all triplets for the most part, with some sustained notes throughout. So you can listen to that here. So it's kind of that ba 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 ba, doing that triplet rhythm pretty much throughout the entire verse there. As far as the note goes, it's pretty much just focused on the first 3 scale degrees, the A, B, C sharp, also dipping down to the E. If you notice, it kind of, again, pedals along this B here, again, to kind of keep us in the groove without resolving too much of the tension. And then it actually resolves the tension in the last part of the verse here. And it ends on the A, and then it resolves into the second part of the verse, which is the exact same melody as before. So just copy paste over, except for the last part that leads into the chorus, which is this part here. Like I mentioned before, the chorus is kind of strange in that it doesn't have a super powerful vocal melody. It almost sounds like a pre-chorus, but then there's also not a chorus either. So I'm just sort of labeling this as a hybrid, and this is what it sounds like. All right, so the reason I say it doesn't sound like a chorus is that a lot of times the fourth scale degree So in this case, the D just isn't a very strong note. It has a lot of tension behind it. So it's just not like it sounds more like a pre-chorus note than it does a chorus, but then it really does resolve once it hits this, goes to this A note here at the top. And notice it actually ends on the B again, the second scale degree, to carry us forward. I think if there's any theme that we adopt is that if we want to sort of carry a song forward, we can end a phrase on the second scale degree. The second half of the chorus is pretty much the same thing. The only big difference is that it ends in the hook at the very end here. And then it goes into the hook. As it was. And then at the end of the hook, it actually ends again on that kind of dissonant D note. The second verse, the melody is exactly the same as the first verse. There's literally only one variation to make it unique, which is right at this part here. And it's just this higher note. That part wasn't there on the first verse. Other than that, everything else is the same. The second chorus is also exactly the same melodically. The bridge melody is more of a kind of rushed rhythm, and so that sounds like this. And again, it kind of pedals on that B note again to add that suspense. And the last hook melodically is exactly the same as the hook before. One other thing to note about the differences in the melody of the different sections is that not only is the verse all triplets, but there's not too much rest given between any of the notes versus the chorus. There's a lot of space in between these phrases here, like almost a full measure in some instances. And so that sort of delineates a lot of the contrast you hear as well, is not only what notes are used, but how much spacing is between them as well. Okay, let's move on to the lyrics, and let's go over the simple part first, which is the rhyme scheme, and then we'll try to figure out the meaning, which is, for me, quite a bit more difficult. So the rhyme scheme is very simple. So the first 4 lines all sort of have approximate rhymes, back, back, hand, that. And then the last 4 lines all have approximate rhymes, say, way, replace, stay. The chorus, pretty much everything rhymes, us, was, was. So everything there rhymes. For verse 2, the way he sings the words make it sound like it rhymes, but again, it's kind of the first 4 all rhyming, phone, alone, floor, on. Somehow he makes them sound like they rhyme. And then the last 4 is same thing, all those rhyme, bell, help, himself, well, and then chorus. Bridge, there's a lot of like internal rhymes too, so like ahead, internet, America, and the her, he pronounces like her, first, was. Everything kind of has a sound, and so that's sort of the internal rhyme. As far as the meaning of the lyrics, I do not have a concrete idea. This is definitely a little harder to interpret here for me. So the whole theme of the song, basically, in my opinion, is essentially just difficulty with struggling to stay in a relationship, but juggling his, realities of being famous as a musician. So when I look at this first verse here, and I try to break out each section and what's like the overall theme of each section. And so if I gave like an overall theme to verse 1, it would be essentially with this holding me back, gravity's holding me back. This essentially is like, I'm having trouble reaching out to you because of everything that's going on in my life. And then in this world, it's just us, it's not the same as it was. Essentially, again, this is, in my opinion, kind of talking about just his fame that he has now. Being in relationships is not the same as it was, and that's pretty much what that is. As far as the verse 2, it gets a little bit dark with essentially talking about some substance and drug abuse, and just having an inability, no one's coming to save Harry from his sort of despair. And then the chorus again, nothing's the same as it was before he had all this fame. The bridge is a little weird. I actually had to do a little bit of digging on this because it just didn't make any sense. Apparently he's dating Olivia Wilde, and allegedly, and I guess this is about her and her 2 kids leaving America and visiting him or something along those lines. Anyway, the song is kind of all over the place lyrically, or there's just a lot of, it's not as cut and dry as a lot of songs that I've seen before. So definitely a little bit tougher to interpret. Okay, and that is the song As It Was by Harry Styles, broken down in a nutshell. So this is a very new format for me. So if there's anything that you would have liked me to dive into a little bit more in detail, or if you felt like I spent too much time on something and not enough on another thing, let me know in the comments. I would love to be able to tailor this to help you out more. I've just sort of formatted it to what's helped me in the past with expanding my repertoire for songwriting. But if there's anything specific, just let me know in the comments below. And until next time, I will see you in the next video. Also, I forgot to mention, now that my cool lights are boring again, if you want a copy of the MIDI that I showed you in my DAW, just leave a comment and I'll send it to you. Well, maybe not through YouTube. So maybe send me a message on Instagram, which you can find on my profile, and I will send it your way if you'd be interested. All right, now I'll see you later. Bye.